Okay, here I've got Marge just out in the sunlight, and bear in mind she's pretty dirty right now. Like, we've done nothing to detail her, so I'll try to point out all the imperfections just so you can see them. So the paint right now is moderately oxidized, which is typical for a Colorado car, especially a red one. You know, before it leaves, we'll certainly give it a very gentle polish. So she's nice and shiny, but you'll need to do that, you know, probably every 6 months, like a clay bar, a wax, not necessarily a polish, just to prevent it from being, you know, as oxidized as it is. So here, let me reattach this clip. So kind of working from front to back. We had talked about replacing the grills with chrome grills. We could certainly do that. It's got the factory projectors right now. I do think it might have like aftermarket bulbs. I don't remember. Moderate fade and chipping here on the lower valence. And this is a black, I think it's an aftermarket IS lip. And then there's an indent here. So this is just ever so gently pushed in this part of the valence, which you can see here. You know, for me, I wasn't gonna fix it. Obviously, we can install this piece that's missing. Hey, Willow. But I was just gonna live with that, because to fix that correctly is probably pulling and repainting the valence. Looking at the front bumper cover, you can see these just white, you know, I don't know what they are, you know, white spots. They get better with polishing, but certainly don't go away. And then the hood itself, moderate paint chipping, small chips here along the front. There's a larger dime-sized chip here, but you know, I call it moderate chipping from here on. And then here is a burn mark where somebody got a little bit aggressive with the polish, and they just took it down to the base layer. And then lots of scratches. Like Marge herself kept a lot of boxes on here, which on a dusty car just scratched the hood finish, you know, significantly. Back here, it's visible, but it's not offensive. Here, it's definitely more noticeable. But again, I wouldn't paint it because it's gonna go down the rabbit hole of repainting the whole car. So right now it's got the BBS wheels with the C18 brakes. You can see the pinkness of the caliper. Fantastic brakes. You know, I just wish that you could fit a stock wheel on them. And then looking at the front fender, very, very nice. Coming down, I worked top to bottom. You know, cloudiness, a little bit of UV fade here. And again on the roof. Willow, come on. Here's the trim, which has been painted, and I actually would venture to say he did a really nice job on this. It looks correct and it's high quality, and I would expect it to last some time. Then coming down here on the door, you know, just typical chips and scratches, paint imperfections. The BBS side skirt, I think it's an IS skirt actually. We installed that, we got that new from ECS. Coming back to the left rear quarter, this is the area that had the, you know, like the slag marks almost. It was. So of course the GoPro died, but this is good because it'll kind of provide another angle or you know, type of camera. This is just my iPhone. But when we left off, I was just looking at these right here. So this is probably the most offensive paint imperfection, and it's like slag marks that just burned it through the red. And if you run your finger along it, you feel a lip, but they're not, you know, I think this probably happened quite some time ago and it hasn't resulted in further paint peeling. So, but again, you know, it's a slippery slope. You paint one thing and then you're gonna go down the rabbit hole and just end up painting the whole chassis. It's deserving of it because it's a rust-free chassis and it's straight, but then you made it real nice and you might feel guilty about driving it. Here's the left rear wheel. You can see this lower rash guard is faded, and it was also faded under the skirts, which was one of the reasons, you know, he wanted to do skirts, but it was a good side effect. The rear bumper and spoiler I did have painted, and we didn't UV scan the car. Here you can see the cloudiness and scratches in the trunk finish, and then you can see what the spoiler looks like with new paint. And then that's true for the rear bumper as well. So the rear, there's some water spots on there just because it's dirty, but the rear bumper itself is painted in new Zyno, and then the rest of that is original. Coming back to the tail lights, trim, you know, typical UV fade on the trim. I'll zoom out here. They drilled a hole for the backup camera, absolutely infuriating. I wish I could find the bastard that did that. Maybe we could put some rubber grommets in there. And then here's the lower valence. And then looking underneath, you can see like the typical E30 spots, battery box, jack tray, they're all nice and dry. So really nice West Coast car. Coming around passenger side, I'll zoom in on this. Left rear wheel. You know, some more kind of slag marks here. I don't know if it was like he's grinding in the garage and the car was just near it or what. But you know, the worst ones are on the rear left quarter, and then finishing on the right front wheel. The indentation we were talking about, I think it's right here, kind of looking at it, and you can see that little bit of a dip. And I don't know if that was like a jack pad that did that or what, but the side skirt, you know, covers it, and there are holes there. So I'll do one more quick zoomed out walk around, and then I'll pull it in the shade and show you the interior. Marge, you just gotta love her. She's just such a good little E30.